The restaurant was called Luminaire, a French bistro in downtown Seattle that my brother Marcus had chosen for the family dinner. I arrived 10 minutes early, wearing my usual work clothes, khakis, and a button-down shirt, and was directed to a private dining room where the family had already gathered. My name is David Winters. I'm 51 years old, a building superintendent for a commercial real estate company. I manage 3 properties in Seattle's business district, including the luxury apartment building where my brother Marcus and his wife Vanessa live, and the office tower where my sister Catherine runs her boutique marketing firm. I've been managing properties for 28 years, working my way up from the maintenance crew to superintendent. The pay was decent, the benefits solid, and I owned my modest home in Ballard outright. But to my family, I was the blue-collar embarrassment they tolerated out of obligation. Marcus saw me first. "David, there you are. We already ordered appetizers." "No problem." Traffic was heavy. I took the empty seat at the end of the table. Marcus sat at the head with his wife Vanessa and their 3 children, Sophia, 12, Nathan, 10, and Emma, 8. My sister Catherine was there with her husband Richard and their teenage son Kyle. My elderly mother sat between them, looking uncomfortable. "David, we're discussing the family investment in Richard's new venture," Catherine said without greeting me. "Tech consulting. Very lucrative." "Sounds interesting." "We're all contributing $50,000 each," Marcus added. "Family investment. Helps everyone." I did the math. Marcus and Vanessa, Catherine and Richard. That was $100,000 total, assuming they meant per couple. "I'm not in a position to invest that kind of money right now," I said carefully. Vanessa laughed, a sharp sound that cut through the conversation. "Of course you're not. You're a janitor." "Building superintendent, different job." "Same thing. Manual labor." The waiter appeared with appetizers, oysters, charcuterie, items I hadn't been consulted about. The plates were placed around the table, none near my seat. "David doesn't need oysters," Catherine said to the waiter. "He probably can't afford his own meal anyway. I can pay for myself." "Please. You're living paycheck to paycheck. We all know it." My mother shifted uncomfortably. "Catherine, that's unkind." "It's realistic, Mother. David's made poor life choices. We shouldn't pretend otherwise." Marcus poured wine, again skipping my glass. "David, the point is we're all moving forward financially. Some of us more successfully than others." The entrees arrived. The family had pre-ordered filet mignon, duck confit, sea bass. Expensive dishes. I'd planned to order the pasta, something reasonable. "I'll have the linguine," I told the waiter. Vanessa rolled her eyes. "See? Even at a nice restaurant, he orders the cheapest thing. Or I order what I want to eat. It's embarrassing. We bring you to Luminaire, and you order pasta like we're at Olive Garden." The meals were served. Everyone ate except me. My pasta would take longer. I sat watching my family consume their expensive dinners while making comments about investment returns and luxury vacations. Then Sophia, Marcus and Vanessa's 12-year-old daughter, did something that changed everything. She reached across the table, grabbed my plate the moment it arrived, walked to the corner of the room, and dumped it in the trash can. "Mom says you're too poor to eat with us anyway." The table erupted in laughter. Marcus choked on his wine. Catherine nearly spat out her food. Even Richard, usually quiet, was grinning. My mother looked horrified. "Sophia, that's terrible." But no one else corrected the child. Vanessa just smiled proudly at her daughter. "Sophia's right, though. David's poor choices shouldn't be subsidized by our success." I stood up slowly and looked at each person at the table. Marcus, whom I helped through college by lending him $15,000 he never repaid. Catherine, whose first business I'd funded with $10,000 from my savings when no bank would give her a loan. And my mother, whom I visited every week while my siblings saw her monthly, if she was lucky. I'm going to leave now, I said quietly. Finally reading the room, Catherine muttered. I walked out of Luminaire, got in my truck, and drove home. No yelling, no scene, no confrontation, just a quiet exit while my family laughed at my expense. The text came at 9:47 p.m. from Catherine. Don't show up to family events again, loser. You don't belong. I looked at the message for a long moment. Then I typed back, noted. I'll inform the building manager you're all banned from properties I'd oversee. Effective immediately. There was a long pause. Then, what are you talking about? I didn't respond. Instead, I opened my laptop and pulled up the lease agreements. Marcus and Vanessa lived in Emerald Tower, a luxury apartment building I'd managed for 6 years. 32 floors, 180 units, premium amenities. They had a 3-bedroom on the 28th floor. Rent, $4,800 per month. Catherine's marketing firm, Prestige Consulting, leased office space in Cascade Center, another property I managed. 5th floor, corner unit, 2,200 square feet. Monthly lease, $6,500. Both leases had standard clauses about conduct, harassment, and the right of management to terminate agreements with proper notice. I pulled up my email and composed 2 messages. The first to Marcus and Vanessa. Subject: Notice of lease termination. This letter serves as notice of lease termination per Section 12 of your rental agreement, which allows management to terminate tenancy due to conduct violations. Following an incident this evening involving harassment and hostile behavior toward building staff, your lease is hereby terminated effective 30 days from receipt of this notice. You are required to vacate Unit 2804 by midnight, November 15th. The second to Catherine's business. Subject: Commercial Lease Termination Notice. This notice informs Prestige Consulting LLC that your commercial lease agreement is terminated per Section 8D, which permits termination for cause, including behavior that creates hostile environments for building personnel. Effective 30 days from receipt, your tenancy at Cascade Center will end. All property must be removed from Suite 510 by midnight, November 15th. I sent both emails at 11:53 p.m., copying the property management company's legal department. Then I went to bed. The call started at 7:14 a.m. Marcus first. David, what the hell is this email? Some kind of joke? No joke. You're being evicted from Emerald Tower. You can't evict me. I'm your brother. You're a tenant in a building I manage. Your daughter threw my food in the trash and said I was too poor to eat with the family. You and your wife laughed. That constitutes harassment of building staff, which violates your lease. Building staff? You were at a family dinner. I'm a building superintendent who also happens to be related to you. The harassment occurred, the lease violation is documented, and the eviction stands. This is insane. Where are we supposed to go? That's not my concern. You have 30 days. I hung up. Catherine called 30 seconds later. David, you can't kick my business out. I have a lease. A lease that permits termination for cause. Harassing building staff qualifies. I didn't harass anyone. We had a family dinner. You told me not to show up again, called me a loser, and participated in public humiliation of building personnel. That creates a hostile environment. Commercial leases take that seriously. You're doing this out of spite. I'm doing this because you and our family treated me with contempt, then explicitly told me I wasn't welcome at family events. Fine. But that extends to properties I manage. I'll sue you. Feel free. The lease is clear. Management's decision is final. She hung up. My mother called at 9:06 a.m. David, what's happening? Marcus is hysterical. Catherine's threatening to sue. What did you do? I enforced lease agreements on 2 properties I manage. Because of last night. Sweetheart, I know they were cruel, but evicting them seems extreme. Mom, they threw my food in the trash, told me I was too poor to eat with them, and laughed at me. Then Catherine texted, telling me never to come to family events. I'm simply ensuring they won't be tenants in buildings I manage. Professional boundaries. They're your family. They made it clear I'm not theirs. By noon, I'd received calls from Marcus's wife Vanessa, threatening legal action, Catherine's husband Richard, trying to negotiate, and 3 voicemails from Catherine alternating between rage and pleading. I responded to none of them. At 2 p.m., I received a call from James Pritchard, the senior partner at the property management company. David, I got your eviction notices. What's this about? Harassment of building staff. Both incidents documented in my report filed this morning. You're the building staff who was harassed? Yes. By your brother and sister? And their families, yes. James was quiet for a moment. David, you've worked for us for 15 years. Never had an issue. Never abused your authority. If you're filing this complaint, I trust you have good reason. I do. The legal team reviewed the leases. You're within your rights. Both terminations will stand unless they want to challenge in court, which would be expensive and unlikely to succeed. Thank you. David? I'm sorry whatever happened was bad enough to come to this. After hanging up, I went about my normal duties, checked boiler systems at Emerald Tower, addressed a plumbing issue at Cascade Center, reviewed maintenance schedules. Around 4 p.m., while I was inspecting an HVAC system, I ran into Marcus in the lobby of Emerald Tower. He must have been waiting. David, we need to talk. I'm working. You can't really evict us. The kids are in school. Vanessa's pregnant. Where are we supposed to go? I stopped and looked at him. Vanessa's pregnant. 12 weeks. We were going to announce it at Thanksgiving. Something twisted in my chest. Not sympathy, something sadder. The realization that they'd planned to share family news at an event they'd now explicitly banned me from attending. Congratulations, I said. But the eviction stands. David, come on. I'm sorry about last night. Sophia was out of line. Vanessa and I should have corrected her. But eviction? That's nuclear. Marcus, do you remember 15 years ago when you needed $15,000 for college? What? You were 1 semester from graduating. Dad had just died. Mom couldn't help. You came to me, desperate. I gave you $15,000 from my savings. You said you'd pay me back within a year. I did pay you back. No, you didn't. You paid back $3,000 total, then stopped returning my calls about it. His face went red. That was years ago. 12 years. $12,000 still outstanding. But I never pressed it because you're my brother. If this is about money, it's not about money. It's about respect. I helped you when you needed it. Last night, your daughter threw my food in the trash while your wife mocked my career and you laughed. Then my sister sent a text banning me from family events. You made your position clear. I'm simply acknowledging it. We didn't mean it like that. How did you mean it? He had no answer. 30 days, Marcus. Start looking for apartments. That evening, Catherine showed up at my house in Ballard. I saw her through the window, knocking aggressively on my door. I considered not answering, but I opened it. We need to talk, she said, pushing past me into my living room. This is my home, Catherine. You don't just walk in. Your home that's worth, what, $350,000. My condo is worth triple that. Then you can afford to find new office space. She spun to face me. David, this is my business. I have clients, contracts, employees. I can't just move in 30 days. You should have thought about that before telling me never to show up again. That was just I was angry. You embarrassed us. I embarrassed you by ordering pasta, by being you, by showing up in work clothes to a nice restaurant, by not investing in Richard's venture, by reminding everyone that you're the family failure. The words hung in the air. That's how you see me, I said quietly. The family failure. David. No. It's good to hear it explicitly. For years, I've watched you and Marcus treat me like I'm beneath you, like my job is shameful, like I'm some charity case you tolerate. Last night confirmed it. Today, I'm acting on it. By destroying my business? By enforcing a lease agreement after you told me I didn't belong in the family. You can't have it both ways, Catherine. You can't exclude me personally while expecting professional favoritism. I'm your sister. Then act like it. Don't throw my career in my face. Don't laugh when your niece humiliates me. Don't text me calling me a loser. Her eyes filled with tears. I'll lose everything, my clients, my reputation. Do you understand what this will do to me? Do you understand what last night did to me? She left without another word. Over the next week, the family pressure intensified. My mother called daily, begging me to reconsider. Marcus's 3 kids sent me handwritten notes about how they have to leave their school and friends. Vanessa sent an email detailing her pregnancy complications and the stress I was causing. Catherine's husband, Richard, tried a different approach. Money. David, what if we compensated you for the distress you experienced? We were meeting at a coffee shop downtown. Richard had requested the meeting, claiming he wanted to find a resolution. This isn't about money. Everything's about money. Name a figure. $5,000? $10,000? Richard, Catherine has a lease that permits termination for cause. She created a hostile situation for building staff. Me. Then she explicitly told me I wasn't welcome at family events. That's not a situation you compensate with cash. She regrets that text. She was upset. Upset enough to call me a loser, but not upset enough to apologize directly. She's proud. You know how she is. I do. That's why the eviction stands. David, be reasonable. This will destroy her business. 5 years of building her client base gone. Because of one text message. Because of years of disrespect that culminated in one text message. The text was just the final statement of what's always been true. She doesn't respect me or my work. Richard leaned back. You're enjoying this. The power. I'm enforcing consequences. There's a difference. Is there? Seems like revenge to me. Call it what you want. The eviction stands. By the 3rd week, Marcus found a new apartment, smaller, in a less prestigious building, with a longer commute. He sent me the address in an email with no other text. Catherine's business scrambled to find new office space. She ended up in a shared workspace, downsizing from 2,200 square feet to a 400 square foot office. She had to let go of one employee. My mother stopped calling. Instead, she sent a letter. David, I'm writing because I can't bear another phone conversation about this situation. I love you, but what you're doing to your brother and sister is cruel. Yes, they treated you badly at dinner. Sophia was rude, and Catherine's text was harsh. But you're destroying their lives over one evening. Your father would be ashamed of how you're using your position to punish family. Please reconsider. Not for Marcus or Catherine, but for their children. Please come back to being the man I raised, the kind one, the forgiving one. Love. Mom, I read the letter 3 times, put it in a drawer, and didn't respond. The 4th week arrived. Moving day for Marcus was November 14th. Catherine's business had to be out by the 15th. On November 13th, Marcus called. Can we meet? One more time. We met at the original restaurant, Luminaire. Ironic, but Marcus said he wanted to return to the scene and talk honestly. We sat at the bar, not in the private dining room where it had all gone wrong. I moved everything yesterday, Marcus said. Got the keys to the new place. It's smaller. The kids will have to share rooms. Vanessa's upset. I'm sorry it came to this. Are you? Because you've had a month to stop this. You didn't. You've had a month to genuinely apologize. You didn't. I did apologize. You said Sophia was out of line. You said you should have corrected her. That's not an apology for your behavior. That's acknowledging someone else's. Marcus ordered a scotch. I ordered water. What did you want from us, David? Groveling? Public humiliation? I wanted recognition that I matter, that my work has value, that I'm not the family embarrassment you tolerate out of obligation. We never said that. You didn't have to. Vanessa calls me a janitor. Catherine says I made poor life choices. You laugh when your daughter says I'm too poor to eat with the family. The message is clear. We're sorry, okay. All of us. We were jerks. We took you for granted. Is that what you need to hear? I need to hear it when you mean it, not when you're trying to avoid consequences. Marcus finished his scotch in 2 gulps. You know what I think? I think you resent us. Always have. Resent that Catherine and I went to college and you didn't. That we have money and you don't. That we succeeded while you stayed in the working class. I don't resent your success, Marcus. I resent being treated like I failed because I chose a different path. You're a building superintendent. That's not a different path. That's settling. I manage 3 major properties. I oversee $200 million in real estate assets. I coordinate maintenance teams, handle tenant relations, manage $1 million renovation budgets. I'm good at what I do. I'm proud of what I do. But you see janitor and decide I'm beneath you. Because you could have done more. You're smart, David. You could have gone to college, had a career. I have a career. A real career. Not manual labor. And there it was, the core belief that made everything else make sense. Marcus didn't respect my work because he didn't see it as real work. Catherine didn't value my contribution because she saw me as less than. We're done here, I said, standing. David, wait. Enjoy your new apartment, Marcus. I hope it teaches you something about humility. November 15th came and went. Marcus was out of Emerald Tower. Catherine's business was out of Cascade Center. Both evictions were completed without incident. I received no calls, no texts, no letters. The family had gone silent. Thanksgiving approached. For the first time in decades, I had no invitation to family dinner. I hadn't expected one. Instead, I volunteered at a shelter downtown, serving meals to people experiencing homelessness. It felt good to be useful, to be appreciated for contribution rather than judged for career choices. My mother called on Thanksgiving evening. Just checking on you. Making sure you're okay. I'm fine, Mom. How was your dinner? Small. Just Marcus and Catherine's families. Very quiet. I'm sorry you had a hard holiday. David, when does this end? When do you forgive them? When they actually apologize for the right things. Not for Sophia being rude, for their sustained pattern of disrespect toward me and my life. They're struggling. Marcus's new apartment is hard on the family. Catherine's business is barely surviving. Those are consequences of their choices, Mom. Not punishments I'm inflicting. You evicted them. After they made it clear I wasn't family. After years of treating me like I was less than them. I'm not the one who created this situation. She sighed deeply. Your father would say pride goes before a fall. Whose pride, Mom? Mine for enforcing boundaries, or theirs for thinking they were above consequences. She didn't answer. We said goodbye shortly after. Party approached. I bought gifts for my nieces and nephews, sent them directly to the kids, not through Marcus or Catherine. Books, educational toys, things that showed I still cared about them even if I couldn't be around their parents. Marcus's daughter Sophia sent me a thank you note. Inside was a separate note, handwritten carefully. Dear Uncle David, I'm sorry I threw your food away. Mom told me it was funny, but it wasn't. It was mean. I miss seeing you. Love, Sophia. I sat with that note for a long time. A 12-year-old had managed what her parents couldn't, a genuine apology that took responsibility. I sent her back a letter. Dear Sophia, thank you for your apology. That took courage. I forgive you. You made a mistake because adults you trusted told you it was okay. That's not your fault. Keep being brave enough to apologize when you're wrong. It's an important skill. I miss you too. Love, Uncle David. New Year passed. Then February. I went about my life. Work, home, occasional dates that went nowhere, weekly dinners with friends from work who never made me feel less than for my career. In March, I got a call from an unknown number about leasing Suite 510, Catherine's old office. A law firm wanted the space. Long-term lease, stable business. Have them contact our leasing office. I can put in a good word. We prefer stable, professional tenants. After hanging up, I felt a strange sensation. Catherine's business failure had created an opportunity for someone else. Life had moved on, filled the gap. In April, I ran into my mother at the grocery store. She looked older, more tired. David, I didn't know you shopped here. Every week. How are you, Mom? Tired. Getting old. We made awkward small talk by the produce section. Finally, she asked what she'd been wanting to ask. Have you heard from Marcus or Catherine? No. You? I see them. Weekly dinners. They ask about you sometimes. What do you tell them? That you're doing well, that you seem happy. She paused. Are you happy? I'm content. I have work I'm good at, a home I love, friends who respect me. Yes, I'm happy. Do you miss them? The question hit harder than expected. I miss what I thought we were. I miss the idea of family that accepts everyone. But I don't miss being the one they look down on. They've changed, David. Marcus is humbler, working harder. Catherine's rebuilt her business, smaller but more sustainable. They've learned. Good. I hope the lessons stick. Would you consider talking to them? Not forgiving everything, just talking. If they want to talk, they know where to find me. I haven't moved. She nodded sadly. We said goodbye in the parking lot. 2 weeks later, I received a letter. Hand-addressed, Marcus's handwriting. David, I'm writing because I don't know if you'd answer if I called. A lot has changed in 5 months. Vanessa had the baby, a boy. We named him James after Dad. He's healthy and perfect. The smaller apartment has been hard. The kids adjusted, but it took time. Vanessa struggled with the pregnancy in cramped quarters. Money's been tight. But something else happened. We're different now, more grateful, more aware of what we took for granted. The kids say grace before meals now, thanking God for what we have instead of complaining about what we don't. Sophia talks about you sometimes. She still feels terrible about what she did. I feel terrible about what I did and didn't do. I should have stopped her. Should have defended you. Should have recognized that you weren't the embarrassment at that table. We were. I don't expect forgiveness. I don't expect you to welcome us back. But I wanted you to know that you were right. About all of it, and I'm sorry. Really, genuinely sorry for how I treated you. Your brother, Marcus. I read the letter 3 times, folded it carefully, and put it in my desk drawer next to Mom's letter. The next day, I received an email from Catherine. David, Marcus told me he wrote to you. I should have written months ago. Pride stopped me, the same pride that made me think I was better than you because I had a college degree and a fancy office. Losing that office was the best thing that could have happened to my business. I was overextended, overstaffed, focused on appearance instead of substance. The new office is smaller but profitable. I'm working with clients I actually like instead of clients I thought I should have. More importantly, I'm different, less concerned with status, more grateful for what I have. Richard says I'm easier to live with. Kyle says I'm less stressed. You did that. By holding me accountable. By not letting me get away with treating you like you didn't matter. I'm sorry for the dinner, the text, the years of condescension. You deserved better from your sister. If you're ever willing to talk, I'd like to listen. Really listen, instead of just waiting to talk about myself. Catherine. I sat with both messages for a week. Didn't respond. Just let them settle. Finally, I called my mother. Mom, can you set up a lunch? You, me, Marcus, and Catherine. Somewhere neutral. Really? David, are you sure? I'm sure, but just the adults. No spouses, no kids, and I choose the place. We met at a diner in Georgetown. Nothing fancy, just a neighborhood spot where the food was good and the atmosphere casual. They were already there when I arrived. Marcus looked different, thinner, more worn down. Catherine's hair was simpler, her clothes less expensive. Thanks for coming, I said, sitting down. Thank you for calling, Marcus replied. We ordered food. There was awkward silence. I got your letters, I said finally. Both of them. And? Catherine asked nervously. And I appreciate them. They felt genuine. They were, Marcus said. David, I can't undo what happened. But I need you to know I understand now. What you do matters. Who you are matters. I was an ass for not seeing it. We both were, Catherine added. We measured worth by income and status. We forgot about character and contribution. I nodded slowly. Here's what I need you to understand. I didn't evict you for revenge. I evicted you because you made it clear through your actions that I wasn't really family. I was the poor relation you tolerated. Once you stated it explicitly, I acted accordingly. We get that now, Catherine said, painfully. Do you? Because it's easy to say you've learned when you're facing consequences. The real question is whether it sticks when things improve. How did we prove that? Marcus asked. Time. Consistency. Treating me with respect even when your lives get better. We can do that, Catherine said. We want to do that, Marcus added. David, you're the only brother I have. I don't want this rift to be permanent. We talked for 2 hours. Really talked, without the usual family dynamics of status and judgment. They asked about my work, genuine questions, not condescending ones. I asked about their struggles, genuine concern, not satisfaction at their difficulties. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't a movie reunion with tears and hugs, but it was honest. As we were leaving, Marcus said, Would you want to meet James, the baby? I'd like that. And come to a family dinner. A real one, where you're actually welcome. Eventually, but let's take this slow. They both nodded. We parted in the parking lot with handshakes, not hugs, small steps. Over the next few months, we rebuilt slowly, coffee meetings once a month, occasional texts about work or life. I met baby James, held my new nephew, and felt the first real warmth toward Marcus I'd felt in years. Catherine invited me to her new office, smaller but professional, with photos of her family that included an old picture of us as kids before money and status had separated us. I kept this photo, she said, to remind myself of what matters. By summer, I started attending family dinners again. Monthly, not weekly. Always in neutral locations. The kids were thrilled to see me. Sophia, now 13, had grown from the experience, more thoughtful, less entitled. At one dinner, Vanessa approached me. David, I owe you an apology. A real one. I called you a janitor. I mocked your career. I encouraged Sophia to disrespect you. I was wrong about all of it. Thank you for saying that. I mean it. Marcus told me about the money you lent him for college, the money he never fully repaid. You helped us when we needed it, and I repaid you with contempt. I'm ashamed. We all make mistakes, Vanessa. Some bigger than others. Can you forgive me? I thought about it. I'm working toward forgiveness. Not quite there yet, but I appreciate the apology. She nodded, accepting that. A year after the restaurant incident, Marcus called me with an unexpected request. David, I want to pay back what I owe you, the $12,000 from college. Marcus, that was years ago. I know, but it's been weighing on me. I'm finally in a position to pay it back. $1,000 a month for 12 months. Would that work? I was silent, surprised. You don't have to do that. I do. Not for you. You already wrote it off. For me. I need to make this right. Okay. Thank you. The first check arrived 3 days later, and every month after that, like clockwork. Marcus rebuilding his integrity one payment at a time. 2 years after that dinner at Luminaire, the family gathered for Thanksgiving, this time at my house in Ballard, the first time I'd hosted. It was crowded. Marcus's family of 6, Catherine's family of 3, my mother, all squeezed into my modest home with its worn furniture and dated kitchen. This is cozy, Vanessa said, and this time she meant it as a compliment. Before dinner, Marcus stood up. I'd like to say something. 2 years ago, we had a family dinner that went very wrong. We treated David terribly. What followed taught us all lessons we needed to learn. He looked at me. David, thank you for holding us accountable. For not just letting it slide. We're better people because you didn't tolerate our worst behavior. We're a better family, Catherine added. I raised my glass. To family, the real kind. The kind that grows through honesty instead of collapsing under pretense. Everyone drank to that. Later, helping clear dishes, my mother pulled me aside. Your father would be proud of you. Not for evicting them, that would have troubled him, but for standing up for yourself, for knowing your worth. Thanks, Mom. I'm sorry I didn't see it sooner. How they treated you. I should have said something years ago. You were trying to keep the peace. I understand. I was avoiding conflict. There's a difference. She squeezed my hand. You're a good man, David, with or without their approval. After everyone left, I stood in my quiet house, looking at the dishes still stacked on the counter, the kids' drawings left on my fridge, the warmth that lingered in rooms that had been full of family. Real family, the kind built on respect instead of obligation. 4 years after the incident, Sophia, now 16, asked me a question during a park gathering. Uncle David, do you remember when I threw your food away? I do. Mom told me you evicted us because of that night. That losing our apartment taught us about humility and respect. I still feel terrible, but I also understand why you did it. You've learned well. I'm going to community college in the fall. Dad wanted me to go to a university, but I reminded him you didn't go to college at all and you're doing great. That college isn't the only path to success. I looked at Marcus, who smiled sheepishly. She's right. I've been telling all the kids that now. Different paths, equal worth. 10 years after that dinner at Luminaire, I received a card from Marcus containing a $12,000 check made out to a homeless charity. David, this is the interest on that loan from 23 years ago, given in your name. Thank you for the loan, the patience, the lessons. Marcus. That evening, I sat in my house, looking at a framed family photo from a recent gathering, everyone smiling, genuine warmth visible. Catherine's note attached to the frame read, 10 years ago, we didn't deserve you. Now we're trying to deserve the second chance you gave us. Thank you for not giving up on us, even when you'd given up on who we were. Love, your sister. I hung the photo in my living room and looked at it for a long time. 10 years. A decade of rebuilding what one terrible dinner had destroyed. Marcus was now a regional manager, but he'd never moved back to a luxury apartment. The smaller place had taught him to live within his means, to value experiences over status symbols. His kids were grounded, polite, aware of their privilege in ways they'd never been before. Catherine's business had grown again, but differently. She ran a lean operation focused on quality over prestige. She drove a modest car, lived in a reasonable home, and told anyone who'd listened that losing everything had been the best thing that ever happened to her perspective. And me? I was still a building superintendent, still managing properties, fixing problems, coordinating teams. Still doing work that Marcus and Catherine now publicly praised as essential and skilled. The difference was that now, when I showed up to family dinners, no one made jokes about my career. No one compared my income to theirs. No one suggested I'd made poor life choices. Instead, Marcus's son, Nathan, asked me to help him with a school project about property management. Catherine's son Kyle was considering vocational training instead of university, inspired by my path. And young Sophia was studying social work, dedicated to helping people understand that worth isn't measured by wealth. I'd changed them by refusing to accept how they treated me, by enforcing consequences when words and pleas would have been ignored, by showing them that respect isn't optional, even within family. My phone buzzed with a text from Marcus. "Family dinner next Sunday? Mom's requesting your famous chili. Kids are already excited." I smiled and texted back, "I'll be there." 10 years ago, I'd been the family embarrassment, the poor relation they tolerated at fancy dinners while mocking my career and life choices. Today, I was Uncle David, the man who taught them all that dignity comes from character, not credentials. That respect must be earned and maintained. That family means something deeper than shared DNA. I looked around my modest home in Ballard. Same house I'd owned for 20 years. Same worn furniture. Same dated kitchen. But it was paid off. It was mine. And it was filled with memories of a family that had learned to value me, not despite my choices, but because of the integrity with which I'd made them. Sophia's childhood note to me, "I'm sorry I threw your food away," was framed on my desk alongside Marcus's letter of apology and Catherine's email. Reminders of where we'd been and how far we'd come. I'd spent 48 hours after that dinner at Luminaire deciding whether to enforce consequences or let it slide for the sake of family peace. I'd chosen consequences. It had cost me 2 years of family relationships. It had caused pain all around. But it had also created something better, a family built on mutual respect instead of obligation, on honesty instead of pretense, on character instead of status. Some people asked if I regretted being so harsh, if evicting my own family had been too extreme. I always answered the same way. I regret that it was necessary, but I don't regret that I did it. Because some lessons can only be learned through loss. Some people only understand value when it's taken away. Some families only become real families when fake bonds are broken and authentic ones can be built. Marcus and Catherine had needed to lose their apartments and offices to understand that I wasn't just the poor relation they tolerated. I was their brother, with dignity and worth that demanded respect. And I'd needed to enforce those consequences to understand my own strength, to learn that I didn't need their approval to know my value, that my work mattered, my choices were valid, and my life was exactly what I wanted it to be. The irony wasn't lost on me. They'd thrown my food away because I was too poor to eat with them. In response, I'd shown them exactly how much power this supposedly poor janitor actually held. Not to humiliate them, not for revenge, but to establish a truth they'd refused to acknowledge. Respect isn't negotiable, and family doesn't mean unconditional tolerance of contempt. 10 years later, we'd all learned that lesson well. My phone buzzed again, this time from Catherine. "Can I bring anything Sunday besides wine and apologies?" I laughed and texted back, "Just yourself. The apologies are paid in full." And they were. Through a decade of changed behavior, genuine remorse, and sustained respect. Through Marcus's monthly payments rebuilding trust one check at a time. Through Catherine's humble acknowledgement that she'd measured success all wrong. Through Sophia growing into a young woman who understood that cruelty has consequences. The restaurant where it had all started, Luminaire, had closed 3 years ago, replaced by a more casual bistro that didn't require reservations or enforce dress codes. Marcus had suggested we all have dinner there once to close the circle, but I declined. Some circles don't need closing. Some wounds heal better when you don't keep poking at them. Instead, we created new traditions, monthly dinners at my house, Marcus's apartment, or Catherine's home. Casual gatherings where kids could be loud and adults could be honest. Where no one ordered the cheapest thing to avoid judgment, because no one was judging anymore. I walked to my kitchen and started preparing for Sunday's dinner, the same chili recipe I'd been making for years. Nothing fancy. Nothing expensive. Just good food made with care. The kind of meal you serve to people you love. People who love you back. Real family.